Hello, fellow anti-novelists and friends. We're wrapping up our 3 parts on editing today. So the first part being developmental edits, that's looking at your story at a high level from beginning to middle to end, making sure that it all flows and has a nice arc. Second edit is your line edits. Line edits are literally going line by line, sentence by sentence through your entire book and making sure that you're using the best language that you can, that your style is coming through, that your diction represents the story that you want to tell, that you're pulling those readers in with your descriptions and your cookies and breadcrumbs, using all of those writer's tools in your toolbox. And then we get to proofreading, which is the third aspect of editing. Proofreading is by far the most mechanical and the most up close, very picky reading. At this point, you're not looking at sentences, you're not looking at theme, you're not looking at show, don't tell, you're literally looking at very close. Is the punctuation in the right place? Are the words in the right order? Those kinds of things. So let me show you a couple tools that I love to use. Number one, obviously, is the note card. I'll show you why in a second. Here's another thing that can be used. This is just a little grid marker, but again, long straight edge. Are you seeing where I'm headed? Number 3, protractor. The straight edge, not the curved edge. Straight edge, right? See where I'm headed? What I'm going to use any of these tools for is when I'm proofreading, I'm going line by line. Proofreading space tips. Both words are capitalized. Cool. Next line. Cleaning up the mechanical, capital aspects of the story. Note, there's no period. Oops, that's a problem. The next thing you need to decide as you're doing proofreading edits is you need to decide, how am I going to keep track of the things I need to change? It could be as simple as just redlining it so that you know there needs to be punctuation there. It could be something like here. Be organized and methodical. Again, there's no punctuation there. So it might just be a red hashtag or a mark. Now let's say if you get down here, go slow and use a ruler on printed pages to look at each, in all caps, line, semicolon, take frequent breaks, double exclamation point. So let's say, for example, I don't want that each to be in all caps. Again, I could highlight it with my red pen. Maybe I'm going to go in instead and I'm going to circle it so that I know that shouldn't be in all caps. Just be consistent with your proof marks so that you know what each one means. You might even create for yourself on your note card a set of proof marks, okay? So I'm going to say a circle indicates a spelling error. I'm going to say a hash mark indicates punctuation, okay? Make yourself a little key so that as you go through, you know what each thing means. And maybe use your index card as your proofer's card. Grammar, triple space, sentence flow, comma, usage of nouns and verbs. Oof, there's no period there. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go in with my marker and I'm going to make that hash mark, and my key tells me that little hash mark means punctuation. So let's look at the specific examples that I've got for you here. So I point out digital tools like Grammarly can be helpful, but they do not replace a good edit by you or a proofreading human. Why? Because Grammarly isn't going to point out usage mistakes. It's literally just reading for grammar. So if you use digital tools to help you get through this process, understand what they are and are not capable of so that you can compensate with other editing. One of the most common systems used for proofreading edits is CUPS, C-U-P-S, capitalization, usage, punctuation, and spellings. So obviously you know what capitalization is, right? It's making one letter big instead of small. Example given, if you have an organization in your book, the Chamber for Alchemical Policy, notice that all of the words are capitalized except for the article for, okay? So as you're reading through your manuscript, every time that appears, you need to make sure that those all caps match up every time. Be consistent. Names, Jean-Marie versus Jean-Marie. I've got Jean and Marie capitalized, and I've got only Jean capitalized. again, as you're reading through your manuscript, make sure that however you choose to spell that character's name is consistent throughout. Usage. Be sure that your usage is correct. There, and there. Which there is there, okay? Make sure you're making proper usage of your words. Punctuation. We know what punctuation is. Now there's a black mark there because there's no E on the word editing. So, whoopsie, I forgot a typo. Use editing to grow your style and to learn proper usage of punctuation. So experiment. Do I want to use a semicolon? Do I need a colon? Is this the best place for a comma? Figure those things out. There's tons of punctuation usage tutorials out there. So get yourself over to YouTube if you're not sure about punctuation and look those things up. Strunk and White's style manual is also an excellent resource. Keep it at hand. I also always have a thesaurus at hand. I like to flip through my thesaurus, check for word usages, check for alternative words. I also have a rhymer's lexicon, so I can look for proper rhymes, slant rhymes, experiment and explore how I'm using my words and if there are better ones to use. That's what makes you a great writer, and that's what is satisfying for your reader. Remember, the only reason that we're writers is because we have readers who love what we do. So treat your reader like the royalty that they are and give them the best thing that you can in your writing. The final S is for spelling. Spell check will not catch when you spell something correctly, but you use it wrong, okay? That's another example of use your digital tools for what they're good at, but also remember that you're going to have to use another kind of editing to catch the things that digital tools will not. So that's a quick overview of completing your proofreading edits. If you're at the point where I am, where I'm I'm still chewing on my first developmental edit, I've already discovered I've got 3 significant plot holes that need bridges across scenes and chapters, and I'm only on about chapter 31 out of about 95 in my edits. So I've got a long way to go, but once I get through that developmental edit, then I will start working on writing and rewriting. I'll do another developmental, and hopefully at that point I'll be ready to start the second process, which is my line edits. Now, Christine, I did get your question on some specific examples of how to execute a proper developmental edit. So the next video that I do, I will answer those questions. So there will be a capstone video on this series specifically addressing how to wrangle through a couple of types of developmental edit. So thank you for your question, Christine. I will answer that in a video, but for now, I need to hightail it back over to the big beastie book full of pages, and I need to get cracking on my developmental edit. So thank you for joining me. I know that your time is precious, and I very much appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video where we do some specific developmental editing together. Thank you. See you in the next video.